I came home early to surprise my wife. That's what I was thinking as I turned onto our street that Tuesday afternoon. 42 years we've been together, and I still get excited to see her face light up when I walk through that door. But when I pulled into our driveway, I didn't see her smile. I saw her crying on our porch bench, alone, while laughter echoed from inside our house, my house, the house I built with these hands. That's when I realized I wasn't coming home to celebrate. I was coming home to fight my own son for the roof over our heads. They wanted our house. They thought because we were old, because we moved a little slower, because we forgot names sometimes, that we were done, that we were easy targets, that we just sign whatever papers they put in front of us and fade away quietly into some nursing home while they sold off everything we'd worked our entire lives to build. They were wrong. Let me tell you how wrong they were. My name doesn't matter for this story. What matters is that I'm 73 years old and my wife, Sarah, is 71. We've lived in this small coastal town in Oregon for over 4 decades. We raised our son here. We buried our parents here. We built our entire life here, brick by literal brick. You see, I built our house myself. Started in 1983, right after we got married. I was a carpenter by trade, worked construction most of my life, and I dreamed of giving Sarah something that was completely ours. No mortgage, no landlord, just us and the home we made together. It took me 3 years working nights and weekends, but I did it. I laid every brick in that foundation. I framed every wall. I installed every window with my own 2 hands, Sarah right beside me, handing me tools and keeping me fed and laughing even when I wanted to quit. That house isn't just wood and nails and drywall to us. It's sweat and dreams and youth and hope all pressed together and standing on that little lot 3 blocks from the ocean. We raised our son, Michael, there. His first steps were on that living room floor I sanded and varnished myself. His height marks are still penciled on the kitchen doorframe. His childhood is written into those walls the same way ours is. Michael grew up good. At least I thought he did. He was smart, got decent grades, went to community college, got a job at the processing plant, met a girl named Amber when he was 26. She seemed nice enough at first. A little pushy, maybe. A little too interested in how much we'd saved, how much the house might be worth. But I figured she was just being practical. Young people worry about money. I understood that. They got married fast. 6 months from first date to wedding. Sarah and I paid for most of it because Amber's family said they were going through a hard time financially. Should have been my first warning sign, but you don't want to believe the worst about your son's new family. You want to believe they're good people. You want to believe your family is growing, not rotting from the inside. For the first few years, things were okay. Michael and Amber lived in an apartment across town. We'd see them for Sunday dinners, holidays. Amber's parents, Gerald and Denise, would come around sometimes. They were friendly enough, always asking about our health, about our finances, about our plans for the future. I thought they were just being nice, making conversation. I didn't realize they were gathering intelligence. It started small. About a year ago, Amber began suggesting that Sarah and I were getting up there in age and should think about planning ahead. She'd bring over pamphlets for retirement communities. She'd ask if we had our wills updated, if we had power of attorney documents, if we'd thought about what would happen to the house when the time came. Sarah would get upset after these visits. She'd say it felt like Amber was shopping for our belongings while we were still alive. I'd tell her she was overreacting, that Amber was just trying to be helpful. God, I was blind. Then Michael started joining in. My own son, the boy I taught to ride a bike and throw a baseball, started talking about how we might need help managing things soon, how it would be easier for everyone if we signed some papers, giving him legal authority to handle our affairs. You know, just in case. Just in case of what? We were in our 70s, not our 90s. We still drove. We still paid our own bills. We still lived our own lives. But Michael kept pushing, Amber kept pushing, and Gerald and Denise started showing up more and more, always with the same concerned faces, the same worried voices, the same questions about our cognitive health. It made me angry, but more than that, it made me feel small, like I was already disappearing and just didn't know it yet. Sarah felt it worse than I did. She started getting quiet during their visits, started making excuses not to come to Sunday dinner. She'd sit on our porch for hours afterward, just staring at the ocean, not saying anything. When I'd ask what was wrong, she'd just shake her head and say she didn't want to cause trouble. That's the thing they count on, you know. They count on you not wanting to cause trouble, on you being polite, on you wanting to keep the peace because family is supposed to matter more than suspicion. They count on you being the good guy so they can be the vultures. 3 months ago, it escalated. Michael came over alone on a Saturday afternoon, said he wanted to talk about important family matters. He sat us down at our kitchen table, the same table where I'd helped him with homework for 12 years, and he pulled out a stack of papers. "These are just precautionary," he said. His voice was calm, reasonable, and the kind of voice you use when you're trying to convince someone to do something they don't want to do. A power of attorney just so I can help you guys if something happens. You know, if there's an emergency and you can't make decisions, and this other one transfers the house into a family trust with me as the trustee, it protects the property, keeps it in the family, saves on estate taxes down the road. Sarah looked at me with fear in her eyes, real deep fear. "We don't need that yet, Michael," I said, keeping my voice steady. "We're doing fine. When we need help, we'll ask for it." His face changed then. Just for a second, I saw something I'd never seen before in my son's eyes. Anger, resentment, like I'd insulted him just by wanting to keep control of my own life. "Dad, you're being stubborn," he said. "This is for your own good. Amber's parents went through this with her grandparents, and it was a nightmare because nothing was set up ahead of time. We're just trying to help you avoid that." "We didn't ask for help," I said, and my voice was harder now. "This is our house, Michael. We're not signing it away while we're still living in it." He stood up, gathered his papers, looked at me with disappointment, like I was a child who'd refused to eat his vegetables. "You're going to regret this," he said. "When something happens and everything's in chaos, you're going to wish you'd listened to me." Then he left. Didn't say goodbye to his mother. Just left. Sarah cried that night. Cried like I hadn't seen her cry in years. She said it felt like we were losing him, like he'd become someone we didn't recognize. I held her and promised that everything would be okay, that we just needed to stand our ground, and he'd come to his senses. But I was wrong about that too. The pressure kept building. Michael would call, and his voice would be cold, clipped. He'd ask if we'd reconsidered yet. Amber stopped coming by altogether. When we'd call Michael to invite him to dinner, he'd say they were busy. When we'd offer to come visit them, he'd say the timing wasn't good. They were freezing us out, punishing us for not giving them what they wanted. And then Gerald and Denise started showing up at odd times, just dropping by unannounced, always with the same concerned questions. "How are you feeling? Are you remembering to take your medications? Have you thought any more about Michael's suggestion?" One time, Gerald actually suggested that Sarah seemed confused when she couldn't remember the name of our mailman. We'd had 4 different mail carriers in the past year because of route changes, but he acted like her not remembering the current one's name was evidence of dementia. I told him to leave. He did, but not before saying, "We're just worried about you both. We want what's best for the family." That's when I knew something was seriously wrong. This wasn't concern. This was a campaign, a coordinated effort to make us seem incompetent to build some kind of case that we couldn't take care of ourselves. But I didn't know what to do about it. They were family. You don't call the police on family. You don't lawyer up against your own son. At least that's what I thought then. I learned differently real fast. Last Tuesday was my 42nd wedding anniversary. Sarah and I had plans to go to our favorite restaurant that evening. the little Italian place downtown where we'd had our rehearsal dinner 4 decades ago. But that morning, I got a call from my old buddy, Tom, asking if I could help him with a plumbing emergency at his rental property. Now, Tom's not just any friend. We worked construction together for 20 years before he left to join the police force. He retired as a sergeant 5 years ago, but we stayed close. Still help each other out with projects. I'm retired, but I still like to keep my hand in, help out friends when I can. I told Sarah I'd be back by noon, plenty of time before our dinner reservation. She kissed me and said she'd spend the morning baking my favorite pie, cherry, and we'd celebrate properly tonight. I should have stayed home. No, that's not right. I should have come home even earlier. Tom's plumbing issue was simpler than he thought. It took me less than 2 hours to fix. I was back in my truck by 10:30, heading home, thinking maybe I'd surprise Sarah and take her out for an early lunch too. Make a whole day of it. When I turned onto our street, I saw 2 cars I didn't recognize parked in front of our house, and Michael's truck in the driveway. My first thought was that maybe they'd come to apologize, to make peace, to celebrate our anniversary with us like a real family should. That hope lasted about 5 seconds, because when I got closer, I saw Sarah sitting on our porch bench, hunched over, her shoulders shaking. She was crying, and through our front window, I could see people moving around inside our house, laughing, glasses raised like they were celebrating something. I parked on the street instead of pulling into the driveway. Something told me I needed to approach quietly, to see what was really happening before I announced myself. I walked up the side of the house, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might burst. I could hear voices now. Michael's voice, Amber's voice, Gerald's loud laugh, music playing, the clink of glasses. Sarah looked up when she heard my footsteps. Her face was blotchy and red, tears streaming down her cheeks. When she saw me, she put a finger to her lips. Shh. Then she pointed toward the house and shook her head slowly, her eyes filled with something I'd never seen there before. Terror. I sat down next to her on the bench, keeping my voice to a whisper. What's happening? She could barely get the words out between sobs. They said if I didn't sign the papers, they'd have me declared incompetent. They brought a doctor. He said I'm not capable of making my own decisions. Michael said it's for our own good, that they're protecting us from ourselves. My blood went cold. Then it went hot. Then cold again. What papers? I asked, even though I already knew. The house, she whispered. Power of attorney, everything. They said if I didn't sign, they'd put me in a home. They said you'd be next. They said no one would believe us because we're old and confused and we don't understand what's best for us anymore. I looked at my wife, this woman who'd stood beside me for 42 years, who'd raised a child and buried parents and built a life with me, and I saw her reduced to this, crying on her own porch, afraid in her own home, bullied by the people who were supposed to love and protect her. That's when everything changed for me. That's when the anger took over, clear and cold and sharp. I stood up. Sarah grabbed my arm. Don't, she said. They'll just say you're being aggressive. They're recording everything. They said they need documentation. Recording documentation. They'd thought of everything. This wasn't just pressure anymore. This was a setup, a carefully planned ambush designed to catch us at our most vulnerable and extract what they wanted while making it look legal and proper. I sat back down, took Sarah's hand, looked her in the eyes. Did you sign anything? She shook her head. I told them I needed to wait for you. They're angry about it. That's why I'm out here. Good, I said. You did perfect. Now listen to me very carefully. We're not signing anything today. We're not signing anything ever unless we want to. And these people are about to learn that just because we're old doesn't mean we're done fighting. I could hear them inside still laughing, still celebrating a victory they hadn't won yet. They thought they had us cornered. They thought we were weak. They were about to find out just how wrong they were. On Grandpa Revenge, They tried to steal our home. Fixed script, batch 2 of 3. Batch 2. Confrontation through legal counterstrike, 5:30, 10:45. I told Sarah to stay on the porch, to keep quiet, to let me handle this. Then I walked to my front door and opened it. The scene inside my own living room made my stomach turn. Michael, Amber, Gerald, and Denise were standing around my coffee table with champagne glasses. Actual champagne. On my coffee table were stacks of papers, a notary stamp, and what looked like some kind of medical evaluation form. They'd turned my anniversary into their closing day. When the door opened, they all turned to look at me. For a split second, I saw panic flash across Michael's face. Then he recovered, plastered on a smile, and walked toward me with his arms out like he was greeting an old friend. "Dad, you're home early." "Oh, I can see what you were just doing," I said. My voice was quiet, controlled, but every word came out like a hammer strike. "You were celebrating stealing my house while my wife cried on the porch." The smile dropped from his face. "It's not like that. We're protecting your assets. Mom was just upset because she doesn't understand the legal complexities." "Your mother understands perfectly well," I interrupted. "She understands that you brought strangers into our home on our anniversary to pressure her into signing away everything we own. She understands that you've been building a case to declare us incompetent. She understands that you've stopped seeing us as your parents and started seeing us as obstacles to your inheritance." Amber stepped forward then, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "That's not fair. We love you both. We're doing this because we love you. You're getting older and things are going to get harder, and we're just trying to make sure everything is taken care of before there's a crisis. The only crisis here is that my son has turned into someone I don't recognize," I said, looking directly at Michael. "Someone who would make his mother cry, someone who would ambush his own parents with legal documents and questionable medical evaluations." Gerald cleared his throat, puffing up his chest like he had any authority in my house. "Now hold on just a minute. That's Dr. Patterson who evaluated your wife, and his credentials are legitimate. She showed clear signs of confusion, memory lapses, inability to understand complex." "Where is this doctor?" I demanded. "I'd like to meet him." A man I hadn't noticed before stood up from my armchair. Mid-50s, expensive suit, briefcase on the floor next to him. He extended his hand toward me. "I'm Dr. Richard Patterson. I specialize in geriatric cognitive assessment. Your wife was very cooperative during our evaluation this morning. Did she invite you here?" I asked, ignoring his hand. He blinked. "Well, no, your son arranged for the evaluation as part of the family's concern about, did my wife consent to being evaluated? She was told it was a routine wellness check. Yes, and did she sign a consent form specifically authorizing you to conduct a medical evaluation of her mental competence?" The doctor's face went pale. He looked at Michael. Michael looked at Gerald. Gerald's mouth opened and closed like a fish. "I didn't think so," I said. "You ambushed her. Came into her home uninvited, told her some lies about why you were here, asked her a bunch of trick questions designed to make her look confused, and then wrote up an evaluation to justify taking away her legal rights. That about sum it up, Doctor. I resent the implication that I don't give a damn what you resent," I said. And now my voice was rising. "You came into my house, evaluated my wife without proper consent, and created a document designed to help my son steal from his own parents. And you're going to leave now before I call the police and report you for exactly what you are, an unethical hack who sells evaluations to the highest bidder." The doctor grabbed his briefcase and headed for the door without another word. Coward. That left me with my son, his wife, and his in-laws all standing in my living room like they still had some kind of authority here. "Everyone needs to calm down," Denise said, using that voice people use when they're trying to sound reasonable while doing something terrible. "This is getting too emotional. We should all take a breath and discuss this rationally." "Get out," I said. Silence. This is our house, I continued, my voice steady now. Sarah and I built it. We paid for it, we live in it, and you are no longer welcome in it. Any of you. Michael's face twisted with anger. You're being ridiculous. We're your family. We're trying to help you, and you're too proud and stubborn to accept it. You're not my family right now, I said, and I meant it. Family doesn't do what you did today. Family doesn't make their mother cry on her own porch. Family doesn't bring doctors and notaries to ambush their parents on their anniversary. It's not fake, Amber shrieked, losing her composure entirely. These are legal documents. This is a legitimate medical evaluation. You can't just ignore reality because it hurts your feelings. You're old. You need help. And if you won't accept it willingly, then we have to do what's necessary to protect you from yourselves. There it was, the truth finally out in the open. Protect us from ourselves, I repeated slowly. Is that what you call it? Protecting us? By taking our home, by taking our rights, by declaring us incompetent so you can control our property and our money and our lives? Someone has to, Gerald shouted. You people don't understand what's at stake here. This house is worth over $600,000. That's generational wealth. That needs to be protected and managed properly, not left in the hands of two old people who might end up getting scammed or making bad decisions or leaving it to someone other than you. I finished for him. That's what this is really about, isn't it? You're not worried about us getting scammed. You're worried that we might decide we don't want to leave everything to the son who terrorized his own mother on her anniversary. Michael stepped toward me then, and I saw real rage in his eyes. You don't get it. You think you can just live here forever, using up resources, letting this property sit here when it could be invested, could be leveraged, could be actually doing something instead of just being a shrine to your stubbornness. It's our home, I said simply, and you will leave it now. For a moment, I thought he might actually take a swing at me. His fists were clenched, his jaw was tight. 42 years of raising him, and it had come to this. His father standing between him and the money winning. But he didn't swing. Instead, he grabbed the papers off the coffee table, shoved them into his folder, and headed for the door. You'll regret this, he said, when you're sitting in some state-run nursing home because you can't take care of yourselves anymore, and there's no money left because you were too proud to accept help. You'll remember this day. You'll remember that we tried to save you from your own stupidity. Amber and her parents followed him out. Before Gerald left, he turned back to me one more time. We have documentation, he said quietly. Doctor's evaluation, recorded conversations where your wife couldn't remember basic information, proof of cognitive decline. This isn't over. We'll be back with the proper legal authority. Then they were gone. All four of them. Out of my house and into their cars and gone. I stood in my living room shaking with rage and adrenaline and listened to them drive away. Sarah appeared in the doorway, her face still wet with tears. What do we do? She whispered. I went to her, held her, let her cry into my chest the way she had so many times over the years when things got hard. But this time was different. This time I couldn't just hold her and promise everything would be okay. This time, I had to make it okay. The first call I made was to Tom, my old construction buddy who'd become a cop and knew how these things worked. He came over within an hour, sat at our kitchen table, and listened while Sarah and I told him everything. Every visit, every pressure tactic, every threat. When we finished, his face was grim. They're running an elder abuse scheme, he said flatly. It's more common than people think. Family members, usually adult children and their spouses, convince themselves they're entitled to their parents' assets before the parents are even gone. They manufacture evidence of incompetence, pressure, or trick the elderly into signing documents. And by the time anyone realizes what's happening, the money and property are already transferred. Can they really do this? Sarah asked, her voice small. Can they take our house? Tom sighed. If they can get a doctor to officially declare you incompetent, and if they can get power of attorney, then yes. They can do pretty much anything. They can sell your house, drain your accounts, put you in a facility, all while claiming it's for your own good. And the law is slow to intervene in these cases because courts don't want to interfere in family matters unless there's clear evidence of abuse. What do we do? I asked. You fight back, Tom said, and you fight back hard starting right now. First thing tomorrow morning, you go to a lawyer, a good one who specializes in elder law. You revoke any powers of attorney that might exist. You set up protections for your assets, and you document everything that's happened, every threat, every pressure tactic, every word they said. They recorded conversations, I said. Gerald mentioned they have recordings of Sarah being confused. Tom nodded. Then you record them too. Oregon is a one-party consent state for recording. That means you can record any conversation you're a part of without telling the other person. If they come back, you record every word. You build your own evidence. Sarah was crying again, but quietly this time. I can't believe it's come to this. Recording our own son, getting lawyers involved. This is our family. No, Tom said gently. This is your son choosing money over family. You're just protecting yourselves from that choice. And Sarah, I need you to understand something. You are not confused. You are not incompetent. You are a woman in her 70s who sometimes forgets names or misplaces things, which is completely normal. What they're doing is taking normal aging and twisting it into something sinister. Don't let them make you doubt yourself. I saw something change in Sarah's face then. The fear was still there, but underneath it, something harder was forming. Anger, determination. What else? I asked Tom. What else do we need to do? Security cameras, he said immediately. If they come back, you need video evidence of everything, what they say, what they do, who they bring with them. And you need a witness present for any interactions. Never be alone with them. They've already shown they'll lie about what happens behind closed doors. We talked for another hour. Tom made a list of lawyers we should contact, explained what kind of legal protections we needed to set up, walked us through exactly how to document everything going forward. Before he left, he put his hand on my shoulder. You're going to get through this, he said, but it's going to get uglier before it gets better. They've already shown their hand, they want your house, they want control, and they're not going to stop just because you said no once. So you need to be ready for whatever comes next. After he left, Sarah and I sat in our kitchen in silence for a long time. I keep thinking about when he was little. Sarah finally said, Michael, how he used to bring me dandelions from the yard and say they were flowers, how he'd climb into our bed on Saturday mornings and burrow between us, how proud we were at his graduation. Where did that boy go? I didn't have an answer for her. Still don't. All I know is that the boy we raised was gone, replaced by a man we didn't recognize, a man who valued our house more than our humanity, and I had to find a way to protect us from him. The next morning, we were at a lawyer's office by 9 a.m. Her name was Patricia Winters. Tom had recommended her. She was in her 60s, sharp-eyed, and when we told her our story, her expression went from professional concern to barely contained rage. This is textbook elder financial abuse, she said, echoing Tom's words. And the fact that it's your own son makes it worse, not better. Family members know exactly which buttons to push, exactly how to manipulate and gaslight their victims. Victims, that's what we were now, victims. What can you do? I asked. She pulled out a legal pad and started writing. Several things immediately. First, we revoke any existing powers of attorney. Even if you never signed one, we need documentation stating clearly that no one has authority to make decisions on your behalf. Second, we set up a revocable living trust for your property. You remain the trustees, which means you maintain complete control, but the house is legally protected from probate and from anyone trying to claim it through power of attorney manipulation. Can they challenge that? Sarah asked. They can try, Patricia said, but if we do this right, they'll fail. Third, we're going to have you both evaluated by a legitimate neurologist, someone independent, someone with impeccable credentials who will document that you are both mentally competent and fully capable of managing your own affairs. That evaluation will counter any questionable reports they try to use against you. The doctor who came to our house, I said. Can we do anything about him? Patricia's smile was cold. Oh yes, conducting a competency evaluation without proper informed consent, especially when done in furtherance of financial exploitation, is a serious ethical violation. I'll be filing complaints with the state medical board and the licensing authority. Even if he's a legitimate doctor, what he did violates every standard of medical ethics. He'll be facing serious consequences. Over the next 3 hours, we signed papers, with real lawyers and real notaries and real protections. We set up the trust. We revoked any possible powers of attorney. We signed authorizations for the independent evaluation. Patricia also did something I hadn't expected. She arranged for a handwriting expert to analyze any signatures on the documents Michael and his crew had tried to get Sarah to sign. If they forged anything, Patricia explained, we need to know. And if they try to present forged documents later, we need to be able to prove they're fake. By the time we left her office, it was afternoon. We were exhausted, but for the first time since this nightmare began, I felt like we had some control back. We weren't just victims waiting for the next attack. We were fighting back. The security cameras went up that weekend, 4 of them, one covering the front door, one covering the back door, one covering the driveway, and one covering the porch. All of them recording continuously to a cloud service that couldn't be tampered with. I also bought a small recording device that I could keep in my pocket. If they came back, every word would be captured. We didn't have to wait long. 3 days after our meeting with Patricia, Michael called. Dad, we need to talk, he said. His voice was calmer now, reasonable again. I think things got heated last time and we all said things we didn't mean. Can Amber and I come by? We want to apologize and start over. Every instinct I had screamed that it was a trap. You can come by tomorrow at 2, I said, but Tom will be here with us. Silence on the other end. Then, you don't trust your own son? Not anymore, I said. 2:00 tomorrow. Tom will be here. Take it or leave it. He took it. The next day, Sarah, Tom, and I waited in the living room. I had the recording device in my pocket. The cameras were running. Tom sat in the armchair, quiet but present, a reminder that we weren't alone anymore. When Michael and Amber arrived, they were all smiles. Amber had even brought flowers. We're so sorry about last week, Amber said, handing the flowers to Sarah like a peace offering. We handled that all wrong. We were just so worried about you both, and we let that worry turn into pressure, and that wasn't fair. Sarah took the flowers, but didn't smile. Thank you, she said quietly. Michael sat down on the couch, trying to look casual. We've been thinking a lot about this, about what you said, about how we made you feel. And you're right, we came on too strong. We should have talked to you more, explained things better, given you time to think. Uh-huh, I said, waiting. So we want to start over, he continued. We want to sit down together, all of us, and talk about the future. Not with lawyers or doctors or anyone else, just family. We can figure this out together, the right way. It sounded good, it sounded reasonable, it sounded exactly like what loving family members would say, but I'd seen the mask slip. I knew what was underneath now. We've already figured it out, I said. We met with a lawyer. Our assets are protected. Our house is in a trust. We've been evaluated by a neurologist who confirmed we're both mentally competent, and we've made it very clear that we don't want or need anyone's help managing our affairs. Michael's smile faltered. You hired a lawyer against us to protect ourselves from you? I corrected. There's a difference. Amber's fake sweetness evaporated. You can't do that. You can't just lock us out of everything. We're your family. We have a right to be involved in these decisions. You have no rights to our property, Tom interjected calmly. None whatsoever. They've made their wishes clear. You need to respect that. Michael stood up abruptly. Who the hell are you to tell me about my own parents? This is family business. You made it legal business when you brought a doctor here to manufacture a competency evaluation without proper consent, Tom said, his voice still calm but harder now. You made it criminal business when you attempted to coerce elderly people into signing over their assets under duress. I strongly suggest you back off before this escalates further. For a long moment, nobody moved. Michael was staring at Tom with pure hatred. Amber was staring at me like I'd betrayed her. Then Michael turned to me, and his voice went cold. Fine, he said. You want to play it this way? We'll play it this way, but don't come crying to us when you're sick and alone and there's no one to take care of you. Don't expect us to visit you in whatever nursing home you end up in. You've chosen to push away the only family you have. You pushed us away when you tried to steal from us, Sarah said quietly. It was the first time she'd spoken since they arrived, and her voice was steady, strong. We didn't do this, you did. They left without another word. After the door closed, I looked at Tom. That went about as well as I expected. They'll be back, Tom said grimly. They're not done. People like this, they don't give up. They just change tactics. He was right. They came back with something worse. 2 weeks of silence, 2 weeks where we didn't hear from Michael or Amber or Gerald or Denise. 2 weeks where Sarah and I started to breathe a little easier, started to think that maybe they'd actually given up, that maybe our show of force with the lawyer and the trust in Tom's presence had been enough to convince them this wasn't worth pursuing. We should have known better. They weren't giving up. They were planning something more desperate. It was a Thursday afternoon when they made their move. I'd gone to the hardware store to pick up some supplies for fixing our back fence. Sarah was home alone. I'd told her I'd only be gone an hour, and I'd made her promise to keep her phone on her and not answer the door for anyone unless it was someone we knew and trusted. But desperation makes people reckless. I got the notification on my phone while I was in the checkout line. Motion detected at front door. I pulled up the camera app and saw 2 people I didn't recognize standing on our porch. A woman in business attire with a clipboard and a man in what looked like medical scrubs with a bag. My blood ran cold. I dropped my basket right there in the store and ran for my truck. Called Sarah as I drove. No answer. Called again. No answer. Called Tom. He picked up on the first ring. They're at the house, I said, my voice shaking. 2 people I don't recognize. Sarah's not answering her phone. I'm 5 minutes away, Tom said. I'll call for backup. Get there fast. I drove like a madman. Ran every stop sign, didn't care who saw. All I could think about was Sarah alone in that house with strangers and what they might be doing to her. When I pulled into our driveway, Michael's truck was parked on the street. Amber's car, too, and a white sedan I didn't recognize. I burst through the front door. The scene in my living room made my vision go red. Sarah was sitting on our couch, looking small and frightened and confused. The woman with the clipboard was standing over her, asking questions in that condescending voice people use when they're talking to someone they think is mentally deficient. The man in scrubs was holding some kind of medical device, trying to get Sarah to let him check her blood pressure. And standing behind them, filming everything on his phone, was Michael. Amber and her parents were there too, standing in the corner like spectators at a show. What the hell is going on here? I demanded. They all turned to look at me. Michael's face split into a smile that made my skin crawl. Dad, we were just starting to worry about you. We arranged for a home health evaluation for Mom. Standard procedure for someone her age. The county sent these professionals to make sure she's able to care for herself safely. The county? I repeated. You called the county on your own mother? The woman with the clipboard stepped forward, her voice professionally neutral. Mr. Anderson, I'm Brenda Mills from Adult Protective Services. We received a report of concern about your wife's welfare. I'm here to conduct a standard wellness check. It's completely routine, nothing to be worried about. Get out, I said. She blinked. Excuse me? I said get out. Get out of my house right now. You don't have permission to be here. You don't have permission to evaluate my wife. You're trespassing, and I want you gone. Mr. Anderson, I understand you're upset, but we have a legal obligation to follow up on reports of vulnerable adults who may be at risk. My wife is not vulnerable. My wife is not at risk. My wife is being harassed by my son and his in-laws who want to steal our property. And you've been lied to and brought here under false pretenses. The man in scrubs spoke up then, his voice trying to be soothing. Sir, no one's trying to steal anything. We just want to make sure your wife is healthy and safe. If you could just calm down. Don't tell me to calm down in my own house, I snapped. Sarah, come here. Sarah stood up on shaky legs and came to my side. I put my arm around her. Are you okay? I asked quietly. How did they get in? She nodded, but her eyes were wide with fear. The woman showed me a badge through the window. It looked official. She said she was from the county and that they'd received a report about my welfare and that they were legally required to check on me. I thought it was real. I opened the door because I was afraid what would happen if I didn't. Then they started asking me questions like what year it is and who the president is and whether I know where I am, and I got flustered because it felt like a test I didn't know I was taking. It was a test, I said. They're trying to make you look incompetent, just like before, but this time they went even further. Michael stepped forward, still holding his phone up, still recording. See? This is exactly the behavior we're concerned about. Dad's paranoid. He thinks everyone's out to get them. He's creating a hostile environment for professionals who are just trying to help. That's when Tom walked through the door. Still had his key from the other day. Behind him were 2 uniformed police officers. The room went silent. Tom looked at the woman with the clipboard. Are you Brenda Mills from APS? I am, she said, suddenly looking less confident. Can I see your credentials, please? She pulled out an ID badge. Tom examined it carefully, then handed it to one of the officers. This badge is fake, the officer said after a moment. The hologram's wrong. The employee ID number format doesn't match county records. The font is off too. The color drained from Brenda Mills's face. Tom turned to the man in scrubs. And you are? I'm a certified nursing assistant. I was hired to assist with the evaluation. Hired by who? The man looked at Michael, then at Gerald, then back at Tom. I was hired through a temp agency. They said it was a private family matter, that the family wanted a professional health assessment of the elderly parents. I thought it was legitimate. They told me there would be someone from social services here to do the evaluation, and I was just supposed to help with vital signs if needed. Did they tell you to pretend to be from the county? Tom asked. The man's face went pale. No. The woman, Brenda, she's the one who said she was from APS. I was told I was just assisting with a private family wellness check. When she started saying she was from the county, I didn't know what to do. I should have left, but they'd already paid me half up front. So you knew this wasn't an official county evaluation, but you participated anyway? The man looked down at his feet. I needed the money. I'm sorry, I didn't think anyone was getting hurt. They said it was just concerned family members who wanted documentation. Silence. Tom turned to the officers. These people gained entry to this home under false pretenses, claiming official authority they don't have. That's criminal impersonation of a government official. They attempted to conduct an unauthorized evaluation on a vulnerable adult through deception. That's attempted fraud and elder abuse. And they did it while being recorded by family members who have a direct financial interest in proving incompetence, which suggests conspiracy. The officers move forward. Everyone stay where you are? Michael's phone finally came down. His face had gone from smug to panicked. Wait, no, we were just trying to get a proper evaluation. We were worried about them. You hired someone to impersonate a county official, Tom said flatly. Don't bother lying. We'll pull the bank records. We'll find the payments. We'll find the temp agency contract. We'll find where you bought that fake badge online. All of it. Amber started crying, actual tears streaming down her face. We just wanted to help them. They're old, and they're not capable of understanding what's best for them anymore, and we couldn't just stand by and watch them ruin everything. Ruin everything? Sarah said, her voice stronger now. Ruin what? Our own lives? Our own home? The only thing being ruined here is our family, and you're the ones doing it. Gerald tried to make a run for the door. One of the officers blocked his way. Nobody leaves, the officer said. We need statements from everyone. Over the next 2 hours, it all came out. Brenda Mills was actually an actress Gerald had found through a local theater company, paid her $500 to play the part of a social worker, gave her a fake badge he'd ordered online from some overseas website that sells novelty law enforcement items, gave her a script of questions designed to make Sarah look confused and incompetent. The nursing assistant was legitimate, but had been lied to about the nature of the job. He'd been told it was a private family evaluation, didn't realize the impersonation aspect was happening until he arrived and heard Brenda claiming to be from APS. He should have left immediately, but made the mistake of staying because he'd already been paid half his fee. He cooperated fully once he understood he'd been used as part of a scam. Michael and Amber had planned the whole thing with Gerald and Denise, waited until I was gone, brought in the actress and the unwitting nursing assistant, had their cameras rolling to capture Sarah appearing confused and unable to answer questions properly, all while official county personnel expressed concern about her welfare. They were going to use that footage to petition the court for emergency guardianship, to claim Sarah was in immediate danger and couldn't care for herself, to get temporary control of our affairs while the legal process played out, and then to drag that process out as long as possible while they liquidated our assets and moved everything out of our reach. It was all planned, all coordinated, all designed to look legal and proper and concerned while being nothing but theft dressed up in official-looking clothing. When the police were done taking statements, they arrested all 4 of them: Michael, Amber, Gerald, and Denise. Criminal impersonation of a government official, attempted fraud, conspiracy to commit elder abuse, and financial exploitation. The charges kept stacking up as the officers talked to their sergeant and then to the district attorney's office. I watched them put my son in handcuffs. I watched them read him his rights. I watched him realize finally that this was real, that he'd crossed a line he couldn't uncross. Before they put him in the police car, he looked at me one last time. "I'm your son," he said. "How can you do this to me?" I didn't answer right away. Just looked at him, this stranger wearing my son's face. "I raised you to be better than this," I finally said. "I raised you to be honest and kind and to take care of people who were weaker than you, not to prey on them. Whatever you've become, it's not my son. My son died somewhere along the way, and I don't know when or how, but I know he's gone." Then they took him away, all 4 of them, into separate police cars, off to booking an arraignment and the legal consequences of their actions. Sarah and I stood in our driveway and watched them go. When the last car disappeared around the corner, Sarah collapsed against me, not crying, just empty. Tom put his hand on my shoulder. "You did the right thing?" "Did I?" I asked. "That's my son. I just watched police take my son away in handcuffs. That's the man who tried to steal your home and destroy your independence." Tom said quietly, "The son you knew wouldn't have done that. This is on him, not you." The legal process took months. Patricia Winters was relentless. She pressed charges. She filed civil suits. She went after everyone involved, including the actress and the temp agency that should have done better due diligence before sending their employee into what turned out to be a criminal scheme. The unethical Dr. Patterson from the first incident. Patricia filed complaints with the state medical board and the licensing authority. Turned out he'd been doing these questionable evaluations for families for years, collecting fees for writing reports that supported whatever outcome the family wanted, regardless of the actual facts. He'd been cutting corners on informed consent, doing cursory evaluations, and essentially rubber stamping diagnoses for money. The medical board launched a full investigation. He ended up losing his license to practice medicine. His career was over. Michael and Amber took a plea deal. So did Gerald and Denise. They all pled guilty to reduced charges in exchange for avoiding trial. The prosecutor wanted them to do jail time, but their lawyers argued they were first-time offenders who'd acted out of misguided concern rather than malice. The judge didn't buy the concern argument entirely, but agreed to probation instead of incarceration. They got 3 years probation, significant fines, 500 hours of community service each, and mandatory elder abuse awareness courses. They also had to write formal apologies and were issued restraining orders prohibiting them from contacting us except through legal counsel. None of them went to prison, though part of me thought they should have. But the prosecutor explained that elder abuse cases rarely result in jail time for family members unless there's physical violence or severe financial theft that's already occurred. What mattered, he said, was that we'd stop them before they could actually steal anything. The civil suits were more satisfying. We sued for emotional distress, for the cost of all the legal protections we'd had to put in place, for harassment, for invasion of privacy, for everything Patricia could think of. We had the recordings, we had the camera footage, we had the fake badge, we had everything. They settled, paid us a significant amount, enough to cover all our legal fees and then some. But the money wasn't the point. It never was. Patricia made sure they understood that this wasn't just about money. It was about sending a message that you don't get to abuse your parents without consequences, that elder abuse has a cost, that we were willing to fight back. 3 months after the arrests, Michael called me. I almost didn't answer. Hadn't spoken to him since that day. I hadn't wanted to. But something made me pick up. "Dad?" His voice was different, smaller, younger almost. Can I come talk to you? Just me? No lawyers, no Amber, nobody else, just you and me. Every protective instinct I had screamed not to trust him, but there was something in his voice, something that reminded me of the boy who used to bring dandelions to his mother. "Tom will be here," I said. "Okay," Michael said quietly. "That's okay." He came over the next day, looked terrible, like he hadn't been sleeping, like he'd aged 10 years in 3 months. We sat on the porch, the three of us. Sarah stayed inside, said she wasn't ready yet, said she might never be ready. Michael didn't make excuses, didn't try to justify anything, just sat there for a long moment, staring at his hands. "I'm sorry," he finally said. "I know that's not enough. I know sorry doesn't fix what I did, but I need you to know that I'm ashamed of all of it." "What happened to you?" I asked. When did you stop being my son and become this person who could do that to us? He was quiet for a long time. When he spoke, his voice was thick with emotion. Amber's parents, he said, they got in my head. They kept talking about generational wealth and smart financial planning and how our generation was getting screwed because the older generation was holding on to assets they didn't need. And it started to make sense, like you guys have this house worth over $500,000 and you're just living in it. And we're struggling to save for a down payment on a tiny condo, and it felt unfair. So you decided to take it, I said. I decided I was entitled to it, he corrected. That's the poison, Dad. They convinced me I was entitled to your stuff, that it was mine by right just because I'm your son. And once I believed that, everything else followed. The pressure, the manipulation, the fake doctor, the fake social worker. Because in my head, I wasn't stealing. I was just claiming what was already mine. But it wasn't yours, I said. It was ours. It still is. I know that now, he said. I know that, and I'm so sorry it took handcuffs and court dates and losing you both for me to figure it out. We sat in silence for a while. Amber and I are getting divorced, he said eventually. I'm moving out, getting my own place. Her parents aren't talking to me anymore since I took the plea deal instead of fighting the charges. Said I betrayed the family, said I should have kept fighting, that we could have won if I just stuck with them. Did you? Tom asked. Michael looked up at him. I betrayed my real family when I tried to take their house. Gerald and Denise weren't my family. They were vultures. And they taught me to be a vulture too. And I'm done with that. I wanted to forgive him. God, I wanted to forgive him so badly because he's my son, and you don't stop loving your children just because they hurt you. But I also couldn't forget what he'd done, what he'd put Sarah through, the tears, the fear, the way she'd looked at me on that porch on our anniversary, terrified in her own home because of our son. I don't know if we can come back from this, I told him honestly. I don't know if your mother will ever feel safe around you again. I don't know if I will. He nodded, tears streaming down his face now. I know. I know I broke something that might not be fixable, but I need to try. I need to at least try to be the person you raised me to be. Even if you never forgive me, I need to try. What does that look like? I asked. Therapy, he said. Real therapy, not the court-ordered stuff. I found someone who specializes in family estrangement and financial abuse. I'm going twice a week, and I got a job, a real job, not working for Amber's dad's company anymore. I'm starting over, trying to build a life that's actually mine, not based on what I think I'm owed from other people. It wasn't enough, not yet, maybe not ever, but it was something. I'm not ready to have you back in our lives, I said. Neither is your mother, but I'm willing to not close the door completely. If you really do the work, if you really change, maybe someday, maybe. That's more than I deserve, he said quietly. After he left, Tom looked at me. You think he means it? I don't know, I admitted. Part of me wants to believe he does. Part of me thinks I'm being a fool for even considering it. You're not a fool, Tom said. You're a father. That's different. It's been 6 months now since that day, since the arrest, since everything fell apart. Michael calls every few weeks, never asks to come over, never pushes, just calls to check in, to tell us he's still going to therapy, still working his new job, still trying to be better. Sarah listens when I tell her about the calls, but she doesn't want to talk to him yet. Maybe she never will. I can't blame her for that. Some broken things don't get fixed, no matter how much you want them to. She told me last week that she's going to therapy too now. Said she needs to work through the trauma of what happened, the betrayal, the fear, the violation of having strangers in her home, pretending to be officials, treating her like she was incompetent. She said she's not ready to forgive Michael, maybe not ever, but she's trying to let go of the anger because carrying it around is hurting her more than it's hurting him. I respect that. Whatever she needs to heal, I support it. The house is still ours. The trust is solid. Patricia made sure of that. We've added more security, more protections. We're not taking any chances anymore. But we've also learned to live with new locks on doors that used to be open, with cameras watching places that used to feel private, with the knowledge that the people who hurt us the most were the ones we loved the most. That's the real theft. You? No, not the house, not the money, the theft of trust, the theft of family, the theft of the relationship we thought we had with our son. They took that from us, and no amount of legal victories or apologies or time will ever give it back completely. I sit on this porch sometimes, the same bench where I found Sarah crying on our anniversary, and I think about how we got here, about all the little choices that led to that moment, about how love can curdle into entitlement if you're not careful, about how easy it is to stop seeing people as human beings and start seeing them as obstacles to what you want. I think about Michael as a little boy running through this house we built together, laughing and whole and innocent. And I grieve for that boy. I grieve for the father I was to him, who somehow failed to teach him that people matter more than property. That family means protecting each other, not preying on each other. I grieve for the future we thought we'd have, grandchildren playing in this yard, holiday dinners where everyone was safe and happy, growing old surrounded by family who loved us, not family who saw us as assets to be managed and eventually liquidated. That future's gone now, maybe forever, maybe not. But Sarah and I are still here, still in our home, still together, still fighting, and maybe that's the real victory. Not that we kept the house, not that we won the legal battles, but that we didn't let them make us small. We didn't let them convince us we were too old, too confused, too weak to stand up for ourselves. We fought back, and we won. Not the family we wanted, not the happy ending we'd hoped for, but we won. If you're watching this and you're going through something similar, I want you to know something. You are not crazy. You are not confused. You're not being paranoid or difficult or ungrateful. If your own family is pressuring you to sign away your rights, your property, your autonomy, that is abuse. It doesn't matter if they say they love you. It doesn't matter if they say it's for your own good. If they're making you feel small and scared and incompetent, that is abuse. Get help. Get a lawyer who specializes in elder law. Document everything, record conversations, set up cameras, build your case, and don't let anyone make you feel guilty for protecting yourself from people who claim to love you while treating you like an obstacle. You deserve dignity, you deserve respect, you deserve to live in your own home, manage your own affairs, and make your own decisions for as long as you're capable of doing so. And if you're young and watching this and you're starting to look at your aging parents as inconvenient gatekeepers to your inheritance, stop. Stop right now. They are not your retirement plan. Their home is not your asset. Their savings are not your future. They are human beings who gave you life and deserve to live out their remaining years in peace and security, not in fear of the children they raised. Be better than Michael. Be better than Amber and Gerald and Denise. Be the kind of person who protects the vulnerable, not the kind who preys on them. Because I promise you, if you go down that road, you'll lose more than you could ever gain. You'll lose yourself. You'll lose your family. You'll lose the ability to look at yourself in the mirror without feeling sick. And no amount of money or property is worth that. Sarah just called me inside. Says dinner's ready. Pot roast, my favorite. We're eating on the porch tonight. Weather's nice. Ocean's calm. This house, the one they tried to take from us, still stands. Still ours. Still home. And we're still here to enjoy it. That's the ending of this story. Not a happy ending, maybe, but an honest one. We survived. We fought, we protected what was ours, and in the end, that's all you can really do. Thanks for listening. If this story helped you, if it made you think, if it gave you the courage to stand up for yourself or someone you love, then maybe some good came out of all this pain. Subscribe if you want to hear more stories like this. Comment and let me know where you're watching from. Tell me if you've been through something similar. Tell me how you fought back. Because that's what this channel's about. Grandpa Revenge isn't about being cruel. It's not about getting even. It's about refusing to be a victim. It's about standing up when people expect you to sit down. It's about fighting back when they expect you to give up. We're old, we're not dead, we're not done, and we're not going anywhere. Remember that.